Hi, everybody. I'm back. Well, I haven't really gone anywhere. I just haven't felt up to making any videos. I spent 24 days in the hospital. The diagnosis was lymphedema and cellulitis in my leg, and the excess of fluid contributed to right side heart failure. And they spent all this time trying to get the fluid out, but I don't know. My leg is still kind of swollen and looking like hamburger. Um, every time I sit up in a chair for about an hour, I feel faint, so I can't go back to work. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have been on medical leave for a month, which means no income. That's scary. And yes, everything else is still homeless, still everything bad going on. And then I found out that at the end of August they're restructuring at my job, so I'm not even sure what's going on with that anymore. So it's just like the hits just kind of keep on coming. Anyway, nobody needs to hear about my life. It's July, what is it, the 10th now? And apparently the thing going around this July was something called Giallo July. I'm not participating in it. I don't understand what that is, but best of luck to everybody who is gonna go through with that and try some different types of stories. It is hard to concentrate to read in the hospital or even, around my family. So I did manage to read 2 books. The first one was a book called The Third Son, and the author's name escapes me. I think it's S.E. Green. Oops. I think it's S.E. Green. I apologize if I've got that wrong. And it's about a guy named Carter and his wife Tori and her 2 sons from her first marriage. And they've gotten married. They've got a nice life. And one day Carter finds out that as the result of a one-night stand 11 years ago, he's got a 10-year-old son. So this boy named Francis, they bring him into their home, and turns out Francis is kind of a little shit. And things just get worse and worse. And something really wrong with Francis. So I picked it because it came through my Facebook feed, and as I've said before, I am a hopeless consumer. If something comes up that looks even vaguely interesting, I'll grab it and have a look and see if I like it. And the descriptions read things like, "Oh, I couldn't put it down," and I will agree it was very quick, enjoyable read. It's available on Kindle Unlimited. The story was pretty straightforward. I enjoyed. I figured it was going to be, another take on the Bad Seed, and it kind of ended up being like that. One of the things that a lot of us who like to read crime and horror stories, of course, we're going to do a lot of armchair psychology reading. And I thought it was interesting how the book portrayed the actions of, is it psychopathy, is it sociopathy, is it antisocial personality disorder, and the behaviors that can indicate that. Where I thought it kind of, I'm more of a show don't tell kind of person, so I thought that when they started bringing in, oh, this is what the wiki entry says, and and I thought they kind of went a little too into the exposition dump arena of things. But overall, it was pretty good. The characters were well drawn. It was not as predictable as you might think, and the backstory was interesting, and it had a good ending. So that was The Third Child by S.E. Green, and available on Kindle Unlimited. Now, the one big thing that was a detriment is the editor does not seem to know the difference between lay and lie. And this is like really obnoxious, but I commented on the post. I enjoyed this. I liked the characters and story, but. And then I proceeded to write out an actual grammar lesson. Carter and Tori lie in bed. Tori lays the book on the bed in the present tense. In the past tense, Carter and Tori lay in the bed. Tori laid the book on the bed, which I'm sure it probably did not go over very well with whoever read it, but I just couldn't help myself. It's really stands out, especially when the rest of the story is very well edited. I didn't see any significant typos, punctuation issues, or anything. Just lay and lie. Learn the difference. Stands out. Anyway, that's my nitpicky self, and being obnoxious. So anyway, the other book that I read is one of the books that I've been wanting to read for a long time. So I'll put this on my 10, right? I said I was going to read 10 books that I already owned that I've been wanting to read for a long time before I turn 50. And I turned 50 in September. So this one was I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. And this was really good. This was a really good book. I'm sure by now you know the story. It's nothing like the Will Smith movie. Or, well, it's a little bit like the Will Smith movie. But it's about this guy, Robert Neville, who is, for all intents and purposes, the last man alive. He hasn't seen anybody in a long time. He's fortified his house, and every night the vampires come and, try to throw rocks at the house and try to get him to come out. And during the day, he goes around and tries to stake them and kill them. But, of course, he doesn't really have anything better to do with himself, so he tries to find an answer. He tries to figure out what is causing this. Why did the plague happen in the first place? How did so many people die? What else, is there a way to cure them? I thought it was interesting because it stayed very grounded in the reality of what his life would be like, his generator and trying to find a car. Although I do think that gasoline has a shelf life. I'm not sure how long it lasts, but the main length of the story goes from, and I guess now it would be considered alternate history because the book came out in 1955 and it's set in 1975. So 1975 is when the plague happens, and it ends in 1979. So over the course of 4 years. And I'm not sure that gas lasts quite that long. A little bit of, and also he makes some interesting comments about bacteria and about germ theory and about how germs mutate, and they don't quite ring true. I remember taking some things about bacteria in science class, and I don't remember them doing the kinds of things that the germs do in the book, or that he talks about them doing. So I think there's a little artistic license going on there. But also I'm not sure in 1955 how advanced our awareness or what they were doing with germs was. I mean, I know there was probably quite a lot done at that time, but I wouldn't be able to tell you at all. Just not my area of expertise. But other than that, it was a good read. You wouldn't think that one guy trying to pass his days would be an interesting story, even with vampires, because I mean there's a lot of the boring stuff, the sitting down and crying, and maybe he'll just go to sleep or drinking himself unconscious, or and I do wish that we'd spend a little bit more time with his because we do go into some flashbacks, a little bit more time with his family, because there's a scene where something happens, but it's kind of off screen, and it's like, okay, well, what happened after that? And they don't go back to it, so that would have been helpful. But overall, fantastic read. And it's short. It's only about 145 pages. So if you're looking for a really good read, I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. And I tried a couple other things, a couple audiobooks. Nothing really has caught my attention. I'll report on it when I finish. I just wanted to check in and say hello to everybody. And Garb August is coming. I am very excited about it. May not seem like it, but I'm not feeling that well yet. And there's some interesting things on the bingo card for this year. And I'm going to try to catch up some of the books that I had picked for last year that I never got around to reading. So that's probably what I'll be working through. So I'll check in next time I have a little bit of an update, and I hope you're reading lots of horror. Have a great day.